there's people here tonight with different things. Stomach ulcers. First of all, anybody with stomach ulcers, and I don't know who you are, but the first thing you got to do is go get tested for Helix Pylori. Because there is only one cause for ulcers. Helix Pylori. And I cannot believe there are doctors out there who still don't know about Helix Pylori.
What is it?
Helix Pylori is a bacteria that, if you go back about 15 years or so, there was a poor soul in Australia, and he discovered that this bacteria is what caused ulcers. Well, up till that point, the belief around the world was that stress caused ulcers, and there was a product called Zantac or something. They were selling billion or hundreds of millions of it a year. And of course, nobody would believe me. Went to the Centers of Disease Control and this, and nobody believed me because the big drug company was selling billions of this and had its hands in everybody. So guess what this guy did? This is what it takes to make change in the medical system, irregardless of the consequences. What he did is he infected himself with the bacteria. He got ulcers, and he cured himself with antibiotics. And he absolutely proved, but it was still 4 or 5 years later, because he lost his job for doing it. He lost his wife. He lost his family. He was put down by the drug companies and everything else. And finally, about 7, 8, 10 years later, the Centers of Disease Control did a big study, duplicated, and he was absolutely correct. I think he won a Nobel. Did he win a Nobel Prize for it? Or? Anyways, long story is, finally after all of this, and the drug company had mounted like a $100 million campaign to discredit him and everything else, and they had it amongst his peers. What was so sad was, so they pulled the Zantac off the market that was for stress, and all they did was change the shape of the pill. They kept the same factory, this and that, and they changed the name of the drug, same stuff in it and everything else, and the pill exists out there today for heartburn. That's right, for heartburn. And the beat goes on. So they kept making their millions. They tried and virtually almost destroyed this guy. Now the other side of that is that, so what they'll use if they pick up that you have ulcers with Helix Pylori, get 2 tests if you have to. Again, the mistakes are unbelievable. But they have a blood and saliva test. Get it tested for Helix Pylori. If you've got ulcers, then you can go broad spectrum antibiotics. They'll give you about 3 kinds for it. Okay, if you don't want to go that route, because if you go that route, they're going to wipe out the good bacteria. Just make sure you get, fermented foods and acidophilus and probiotics and all that pounded back into you. Or another thing that will kill a Helix Pylori, if you're very disciplined, is Manuka honey from New Zealand. Only place in the world it comes from. Manuka honey. So I hope I helped that person with stomach ulcers.